A Temple trifecta over the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Field hockey, win. Men's soccer, win. Volleyball, win, win, win.
Just hoping that they get some stops, and they played out of this world. And again, that is the best defense in the country. I'm saying it. Everyone should be saying it. We have the best defense in the country.
And somebody's O has got to go. The battle of the undefeated. Temple football faced off against nationally ranked Maryland in a Saturday showdown. A jam-packed show for this episode of OwlSports Update, and it starts right now. Hello everyone, Sean McGeehan here alongside Brian Steinmetz. Welcome back to TV Studio 3 for another week of OwlSports Update. It was a busy week all around for Temple Athletics, and it was almost a perfect week.
Yeah, absolutely. All they did was win, 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 no matter what. Thank you, DJ Khaled, and thank you, Ludacris. And with those wins, let's start off with probably the most impressive of the bunch. Yeah, Maryland was ranked 21st in the country coming into the game against the Owls this past weekend. The Terps were red hot after defeating the then 21st ranked Syracuse 1 week earlier. Temple and Maryland have a history together. Last season, the Owls bested the Terps down in College Park. And we're going to start this one in the first quarter, where Maryland seems to be driving at ease, but they find themselves in a fourth down situation, and quarterback Josh Jackson hurries this pass only to be intercepted by Harrison Hand, and the Owls take over with pretty good field position, and here comes Anthony Russo. A few plays later, Russo connects for a 1-2 punch, 2 being his stud wide receiver Isaiah Wright for the 29-yard score. After that, however, the defense locked in for both squads, and neither team scored again until the third quarter, where Anthony McFarland finds pay dirt on a 4-yard run, putting the Terps up 9-7. But have no fear, one play later, Anthony Russo finds Jaden Blue streaking down the sideline, who shakes off a defender, and watch him go. 79 yards on the reception, puts the Owls back ahead, and they regain the momentum. Though as the third quarter winds down, Jackson finds his man, Tyler Mabry, on a 17-yard connection to flip the script once again, and some extracurricular here after the play. Well, we head over to the fourth quarter now, and Temple's in the red zone. Russo in the pocket, scrambling, fires, bang! Kenny Yeboah with a one-handed go-ahead touchdown catch, capping off a 14-play drive. Back the other way now, Maryland trying to answer, but McFarland is met by a ferocious Sean Bradley 3 yards into the backfield, and the Owls would take over. But wait, on fourth down, the Owls forced the punt, and, well, that just didn't go too far, only 7 yards, and Maryland's offense gets one more chance. And on fourth down again, Jackson in the backfield, scrambling, firing into the back of the end zone. Caught! No, he was out of bounds. And Temple's defense once again comes up large, securing the upset for Temple as Russo takes a safety to run out the clock and let the celebration begin. Owls win 20-17.
Defense played phenomenal. We were clutching our fidgets for a bit, just hoping that they get some stops, and they played out of this world. And again, that is the best defense in the country. I'm saying it. Everyone should be saying it.
I think we have one of the best defenses in the country, and I'll stand by that no matter what. You know, a team like them that's putting up 71 points a game in the first 2 weeks to come out here and play them the way they did, and not only that, but have 2 stops in the red zone down by the goal line at the end of the game in crunch time. You know, I don't think our defense could have played much better, and I owe them one because, you know, when the offense wasn't going, the defense was right there to pick us up.
It's a testament to our defense again. You know, our D-line played excellent today. They were getting pushed back, and they just created a lane for me, and I did my job. We all did our job, and I ended up making the play. So could have been any of us.
Oh, I was extremely happy with how the corners played. The whole defense. I mean, really, you got a team that's averaging some ridiculous number coming in, and to hold them to 13 because offense scored 24 today, so was really good.
Yeah, the Owls moved to 2-0 on the season after starting 0-2 just a year ago. Cool stat here showing the game really was a back-and-forth affair as time of possession only separated by 37 seconds. And how about Jaden Blue? He's the first Temple wide receiver since 2014 to record back-to-back 100-yard games. Let's see if he can make a three against Buffalo.
Holding an FCS team like Bucknell to 12 points is one thing, but to only give up one touchdown against a nationally ranked team like Maryland, who was averaging more than 70 points per game, is another. Temple's defense showed up big time on Saturday, and the team was quick to give them credit where credit was due.
The Maryland Terrapins were averaging 71 points per game before heading to Lincoln Financial Field this past Saturday. But Temple must have not gotten the memo. The Owls flexed their muscles and held Maryland to one touchdown on the day.
To come out here and play them the way they did, and not only that, but have two stops in the red zone down by the goal line at the end of the game in crunch time. I don't think our defense could play much better.
The emergence of Harrison Hand was critical to the Owls' win. Hand had 10 tackles and 1 interception on the day and earned the title of AAC Defensive Player of the Week.
The Owls' defense was terrific all day, but where it succeeded the most was in the red zone, including 2 goal line stops, and the team couldn't be happier with the defense moving forward.
Again, that is the best defense in the country. I'm saying it. Everyone should be saying it. We have the best defense in the country.
I think we have one of the best defenses in the country, and I'll stand by that no matter what. Just to be able to go out there and play with the confidence they did against an offense like that, it speaks for itself, the preparation that they have.
Prepared but not satisfied. Head coach CAREY is happy with the win, but doesn't want the team to get ahead of itself.
Yes, it's fantastic, but it doesn't count for 1.5 wins. It only counts for one still.
Just one win? Yes, but a big win nonetheless, and the first ranked win for the Owls since Cincinnati last season.
Yeah, although Temple isn't nationally ranked yet, its defense is. The Owls are ranked 24th in the country, according to NCAA.com.
And in its 2 games so far this season, the Owls have given up just more than 550 yards, and they've only allowed 3.6 yards per play. But the Owls defense played its best game in recent memory, but the special teams, not so much. They probably have a game they want to forget.
Yeah, here to continue our team coverage is Inside the Nest reporter Dom Gillespie. Dom.
Guys, it's hard to say the cup is half empty when you beat a nationally ranked team, but special teams was far from perfect on Saturday. There were a lot of costly, avoidable mistakes that the Owls cannot afford to make moving forward. Whether it was fumbles, missed field goals, penalties, or just simple miscommunication, the Owls special team unit was lucky the defense stepped up on 4 separate occasions to help pull this one out against a top 25 team. Let's take a look at the film. First play, we got a punt in Maryland's territory, but wait. The ball will hit off Freddie Johnson, Terrapins fall on top of it, and have the ball deep in Owl territory. Next play here, we have a low snap that goes out of the back of the end zone, resulting in a safety, and you can see punter Adam Berry is frustrated. Next, we got a field goal attempt in Owl territory, goes wide right from Will Mobley. Mistakes just keep piling up. Lastly here, I'm not even sure what went wrong. Adam Berry's punt goes off the wrong side of the foot, goes out of bounds, goes 7 total yards. All in all, just too many mistakes for one day of football on Saturday for special teams. Now, the one play that sticks out to me is the punt that went off of Freddie Johnson. That one's on Isaiah Wright. He's a preseason special teams All-American. He's got to communicate with his team there and get them away from the football if he does not plan on fielding it. Opposing teams are going to try to kick away from him a lot this year when they can. The Owls special teams cannot plan on keep playing like this moving forward. While Temple was lucky enough to get a win on Saturday, the better teams on their schedule will make the Owls pay for their costly mistakes. Whether it's Coach Ed Foley leaving or something other, corrections need to be made. The Owls need to be much improved this week versus Buffalo. Reporting from Plasma, I'm Dom Gillespie. Shaun and Brian, back to you guys.
Thanks, Dom. The special teams definitely could have played better, but it'll have plenty of chances to redeem itself with some very important games coming up on the schedule. Starting off with Buffalo on September 21st. The Bulls upset Temple at the Link last season, so it's probably a game that the Owls have circled on their schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, former Owls head coach Jeff Collins makes his return to Philly the week after on September 28th with Georgia Tech coming to town. Then the team gets into its conference play. Temple starts October by heading down to North Carolina for a conference matchup versus East Carolina.
And then the Owls head right back up to the link to host the Memphis Tigers. This will be the first time these two teams face off against each other since 2016. The series is split between the two teams all time at 2-2. The Tigers taking that last matchup in 2016 by a score of 34-27.
Yeah, well, with that being said, we're going to take our first break of the day.
Yep, when we return, we'll recap volleyball's record-setting weekend at the Cherry and White Invitational.
Want to do well academically, and they want to do well on the court. So we go out of our way to find these type of kids, and you know, I've been here for like 15 years now, so we've been pretty successful.
And cue the fireworks, Kent State. We take you down to Howarth Field for some field hockey as the Owls stay red hot to start their season. Plus success not on the court and in the classroom for the tennis team. OwlSports Update is back in 9. Welcome back, everyone. Historically, volleyball has been one of Temple's best sports, but an 8-win season last year left fans with some questions heading into 2019. Now, with 9 straight wins to start its 2019 campaign, the team seems to have answered those questions, especially with its dominant weekend at the Cherry and White Invitational. In match 1, Temple faced off against Columbia for its second match of the Cherry and White Invitational. And this set, just as good as the first. Freshman Kayla Spells rises up and spikes this down right in Columbia's face. Sophomore Jen Grimshaw is up next for the Owls, and she's a little less violent than her teammate, but she gets the same result. Another point for the Owls. Temple takes this match 3-0 before facing off against Lehigh for its final match of the weekend. Let's head right to that matchup versus Lehigh. I bet you can guess how this one ends. Yeah, another dominant victory for Temple. Get the brooms out for a 3-0 sweep. Avery Salvador led Temple with 13 digs versus the Mountain Hawks, and her teammate Selena Murphy added 9 on top of that. Sophomore Tyler Lindgren was named MVP of the weekend, dishing out 11 assists per set. She'll look to best that performance when the team heads to Villanova for the Big 5 Challenge. Lindgren was named MVP of the weekend, but Peyton Boyd also earned tournament honors with better than 3 kills per frame. Her teammate Kayla Spells joined her by averaging 1.33 blocks per set. It's hard to argue how good this Temple team is right now. Its 9-0 record to start the season is a program best, but what might be even more impressive is their 27-2 set record. Let me repeat that. They played 29 sets and they've won 27. That includes 5 straight sweeps.
Yeah, their volleyball team swept the Cherry and White Invitational, like Sean said, winning all 3 matches, and they already have more wins than last season, putting the past behind. It seems like no one can stop the Owls. It's Han-Wook Nam has more.
It's mid-September, and the Temple volleyball team is already better than it was all of last season. In fact, this is the best they've ever been.
Well, I think this is something we kind of started beginning of this year, January 2019. We really wanted to refocus on some of the elements, the basic elements that made this program great, at least in our opinion.
Not only a good start, but an historic start. The Owls' 9-0 record is the best start in program history. A clear improvement over the 8-win season they had in 2018.
Well, this year we really have been focusing on our team values. So the intensity and just like the feeling on the court is so much different than last year, and like we work really well together.
Which also made this past weekend's 3-match sweep that much more exciting. The Owls did it in front of their home crowd in their home opening Cherry and White Invitational.
Definitely there's a little pressure because you always want to win, but honestly, I feel like the team does a good job of like keeping us humble and keeping us like focused on one game at a time, one point at a time, so that you don't get overwhelmed by the big stuff.
With the best record ever to kick off the season, opponents' work is necessary to keep the Owls from winning. From Pearson and McGarty Hall, I'm Han-Wook Nam.
Yeah, what a week for the field hockey team. The Owls made national news when Kent State kicked them off the field versus Maine to make way for a football fireworks display. This got national attention and turned Temple's midweek practice into a bona fide news conference. Yes, there were media outlets needing help from Google Maps just to find out how to get to Howard Field. But the Owls finally did get back on the field, where I'm sure they were happy to be. Taking on the winless Bryant Bulldogs, and it's home sweet home for Temple as the Owls came into this one 2-0 with shutout wins already on the season against Merrimack and LaSalle, and they look good against Bryant. Some early opportunities for both teams, but good plays from each of the goalies. Claire Thomas, however, gets things rolling for Temple as she knocks in the rebound goal, putting the Owls up. Not much later, Talia Popinko gets this one off the redirect on a penalty corner shot, putting this one out of reach, and the Owls secure their third win of the season.
We're excited. I think really it's just making sure that we come out each day and focus on what's next, and they've been putting in a lot of work. They're really connected right now. It's really a great family. But yeah, I think for us it was really a main focus that we keep them focused on tonight throughout the week, which was a little bit difficult with all the reporters around. That's not something that normally happens within our program, let alone field hockey. So I was really impressed with our group with how they stay locked in.
And be sure to stay locked in with us. It's time for another quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we return, we lace up our running shoes and talk some cross country.
Yeah, plus we'll see how men's soccer got their first win of the season, not to mention its first goal of the season, and we'll let you know if the women could pick up a win as well. Don't touch that remote. OwlSports Update, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. Let's head down to the Temple Sports Complex. 2 games in 4 days for men's soccer. Let's start with its matchup versus Lafayette this past Friday. Shutouts must have been the theme for Temple Sports this week. Michael Berger finds the back of the net here off the pass from Amir Cohen for the Owls' first goal of the year. Owls now up 1-0, and the senior Lucas Fernandez scores twice on the night, once in the 24th minute and once from a penalty kick in the 59th minute. Owls win this one by a score of 3-0. On to that second match I told you about, another dominant shutout victory for Temple. While the Owls only had 1 goal on the night, they outshot the Blue Hens 23-0. That's 2 straight wins for Temple after starting the season with 3 straight losses. The Owls own a 2-3 record as they prepare for their match against Penn on Saturday.
Yeah, moving over to women's soccer now. They squared off against WAGNER on Wednesday night at home. Not much action in the first half, but just 37 seconds into the second, Haley Gutowski finds the back of the net as the Owls jump out to a 1-0 lead. About 13 minutes later, Temple would strike again as Gabrielle Johnson sinks this one. 2-0 Owls. Later in the match, WAGNER would sneak one in, but it doesn't really matter because Temple wins this one 2-1 for their second win of the season. Last week against Maryland, it looked like it was going to be a loss for the Owls. That is until Marissa DiGenova tied the game in the 89th minute, forcing a draw between the 2 squads. 3 days later, it was Temple getting out to the early lead as they took on Ryder. Haley Gutowski put the Owls up early in the second half, but they give up 1 in the 70th minute for yet another draw. Overall, the Owls are now 2-3-3 on the year.
Last season was a historic one for Temple's cross-country team. The Owls finished 2nd overall in the AAC championships, only finishing behind nationally ranked Tulsa. And the team seems to be poised for another big season this year. Here to tell us more about this is OwlSports Update's Jackson Neal. Jackson?
Hey guys. Back on August 30th, the Temple men's cross-country team kicked off its season at the Lehigh Invitational in Bethlehem. In the meet, 8 of the team's runners finished in the top 50, which means all went according to plan as the Owls like to run in packs.
If there is in fact strength in numbers, it's hard to argue with the Temple men's cross-country team. At the Lehigh Invitational, most teams attempted to stick together since it's early in the season, but none were as successful as Temple. The Owls had 8 of their 9 runners finish within a 2-second spread of one another.
Yeah, so Lehigh for us was an opportunity to see the regional course. The goal was to go up there, run as a group. I think we had 8 or 9 guys run 5:20 pace together.
Running in such a tight pack wasn't too difficult for the Owls. They've been running together for a majority of their careers, as most runners are either juniors, seniors, or graduate students.
This year's squad is one of the oldest in recent memory, and with all that experience, this team is hoping to push this program to new heights.
I think this team has a lot to accomplish. I think, always our ultimate goal is to be the best team that we can possibly be. And for us, that really we're thinking about that national championship and being able to qualify.
Taking a step forward with this program every year that I've been here. We've set program records every year that I've been here. We've, broken down and been better than we've ever been before. And we're kind of at a place now where that's not really enough for us anymore. And ultimately, if you want to get to that next tier, that upper echelon of programs in the country, and you're going to have to do some things you've never really been able to do before.
And that means making the NCAA meet, something the Owls have never done as a team. In order to accomplish that feat, they'll need to have a strong showing at regionals, which are right back at Lehigh.
The next step for Temple is the Iona Meet of Champions, which will take place Friday at Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx. The men's 8K race starts at 10 a.m.
All right, Jackson, good stuff. It's time for us to run to a pack to our final break of the show, but don't leave us just yet.
Yeah, that's right. After the break, we're talking tennis and the success that the team is having inside the classroom. OwlSports Update, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. Of course, we always love to talk sports here on the show, but remember, we cover student athletes.
Yeah, a team that has got to be highlighted is the tennis team, who's putting on a show in the classroom. OwlSports Update's Tyrone Sharper has more.
Being a student athlete can be difficult, but when it comes to the men's tennis team, their academic success remains impressive. Not only thanks to a team GPA of higher than 3.5, but also the Owls have 3 players receiving the International Tennis Association Scholar Athlete Award this year.
I mean, it's a big honor, of course. It means that I'm doing my job in the classroom correctly as well as on the tennis court. We're a student and then an athlete, so the student aspect of it is very important. It's what's going to help us.
Because it's a lot of time that we spend on court and traveling. But I don't know, normally when we go out after dinner, you see the guys in the lobby studying. We actually try to get as much study as we can.
A student athlete must be a varsity letter winner, as well as maintain at least a 3.5 GPA for the academic year to win this award. Coach Merrill is sure to let the team know that success in the classroom and success on the court go hand in hand.
When I come here, I say, hey, you guys are good tennis players, but at the end of the day, it's tough to become a professional, so your number one priority here is academics. So we've been pretty successful every year. I think we've had the best graduation rate of any sport in the school for the past, 10 years. We have a perfect graduation rate.
While the men's tennis team has things under control in the classroom, they prepare for their first match on Friday versus Wagner. From the Pavilion, I'm Tyrone Sharper, OwlSports Update.
All right, Tyrone, thank you. Now for a look ahead to the other upcoming games this week, the volleyball team takes part in the 2-day Big 5 Challenge. The women's tennis team kicks off the Sissy Leary Invitational, and the men's tennis team takes on Wagner down at Howard Field. The field hockey team looks to continue its hot start against Liberty. And finally, the football team takes on Buffalo in upstate New York. You can catch that game on ESPNU. Owl fans, speaking of football, we want to know what you think. Head over to our Twitter at OwlSports Update to vote on this week's poll. Which do you think is more likely? Temple rushes for 200-plus yards, or Temple gives up 3 touchdowns of any variety? Me, I'm going with Temple gains more than 200 rushing yards. I love Ramon Davis, and I think he'll make a big jump this week against Buffalo.
That's going to be a wrap for this edition of OwlSports Update. Be sure to tune in on Tuesday for another episode of Inside the Nest with Brooklyn Vaughn and Dan Wilson for updates on all things Temple football.
And follow us on all of our social media at OwlSports Update for all your Temple sports needs. It's time for us to go. Have a great weekend, everybody.